What has happened is very unfortunate. And it has hurt the sentiments of the Hindus in the globe around. So we are hurt. Everybody is hurt. And there is no question of finding out any excuses or trying to defend it. I am not denying that Champat Rai ji has been a senior office bearer and is presently the international vice president of the VHP. We did not recommend him to that place. He does not represent VHP. Guilty should be punished, and this whole process should complete within 4 to 5 months, and Hindu Samaj would feel some satisfaction when they see the convicted persons going to jail. You want me to dismiss him today without even the result of the investigation? Nobody has yet accused Champat ji of sharing or instigating or planning for such loot. He may be guilty of negligence. I am admitting it that he may be guilty of negligence. Whatever be the size of the fish, irrespective of small or big, none would be spared, none should be spared. We are sorry. We think it is very bad. But then, in any crime that has taken place, we have no role in that crime and nobody has assigned us that role. As far as I know, the chadhawa chori or loot, whatever, it has happened. The treasurer of the trust has in an official statement said that the ornaments, gold, jewelry, whatever was donated is there and documented. This is to be tested. This is the election year. A row over Rama temple can affect and influence. तो हिंदी में एक कहावत है, कोई दुश्मन की एक आंख फोड़ने के लिए अपनी दोनों नहीं फोड़ लेता है. राम जी said, वो कपट छल छिद्र न भावा. Ram ji recognizes where is the kapat and where is the sincerity.
Hello and welcome to HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. What is making news? What is agitating minds of Indians? And what has shaken the faith of those who believe in God and Ram? The answer is simple: temple loot in Ayodhya. Even as it is being underplayed as a theft, it is nothing but looting cash and jewelry from the place where millions of Indians donated their hard-earned money. Of course, the police is investigating. Of course, arrests have been made. But is that enough? We have with us Alok Kumar, International President of the Vishwa Hindu Parishad. In his current role with the VHP, Alok Kumar has led initiatives on temple management. Mr. Alok Kumar here with us in this edition of HT's weekly talk show, The Interview. Welcome to the show, Mr. Alok Kumar, and thank you for being here with us.
Namaskar.
First and foremost, how would you sum up this temple loot? And I'm using the word loot and I will not call it a theft because this has been going on a daily basis.
I'm not quarreling about the words. What has happened is very unfortunate. And it has hurt the sentiments of the Hindus in the globe around. So we are hurt. Everybody is hurt. And there is no question of finding out any excuses or trying to defend it.
Would you still dismiss it as a theft and underplay by saying we are hurt? That's the minimum, that's the least that can be expected.
We are not trying to get away with anything. All of us are determined that the police and the SIT makes a very thorough probe, covering all angles and covering all individuals, whosoever they may be, against whom there are any allegations. So we would like to get to the bottom of the truth, including to find out as to for how long this has been happening.
You know, there is documentary evidence because in 2020, the audit had flagged this financial mismanagement and nothing was done about it. So, for you to say that we are going to find out since when this been happening is little unconvincing, because that's why I said it's been happening on a daily basis because there's evidence to that.
Everybody should cooperate with the investigations. There should be no leniency and no exaggeration.
But coming back to my original question, would you dismiss this as a theft?
I said, let us not quarrel about the words.
It's important because loot and theft, there is a wide gap.
Whatever it may be, it is bad. Whatever it may be, it has to be investigated. The guilty to be found and punished. So, the technicalities or the semantics are not important.
How much has the credibility of the VHP taken a hit? Because you know, the temple movement is synonymous with the VHP. Huge sums of money was collected by the VHP actually visiting households, and you yourself have said some 3,300 crores was collected. So, can the VHP absolve itself of the responsibility and accountability?
We are not accountable for it. The day the judgment came, the Supreme Court judgment, I had clarified that the job of the VHP is over. Construction of the temple and the running of it is not our job. So the government formed a trust. I know that you will tell me that Champat Rai is an office bearer.
I'm going to come to that a little later.
So let us come to it now.
Okay.
I am not denying that Champat Rai ji has been a senior office bearer and is presently the international vice president of the VHP. We did not nominate him to that place. We did not recommend him to that place. He does not represent VHP. Whatever has happened, unfortunate it may be, but the attempts to pin the VHP, the RSS, the Prime Minister's office, the people who are doing it as a campaign for 2027 assembly elections. Maybe that the people look us in the bad light, but the accountability, no.
Responsibility?
The responsibility, no, because we as an organization were not formally or informally or in any other way involved in the running of the temple.
But you know, when you say Mr. Champat Rai does not represent the VHP, he is the vice president of the Parishad.
Correct.
He is a very important member of the VHP.
It is just like saying that if a person is, say, vice president or secretary of a big MNC, and in his individual capacity, he does some other thing and is caught in that, and you hold the company as responsible. This is not fair to us.
Point well taken. Wouldn't then, against what you are saying, even if you do not hold the VHP responsible or the company or the MNC responsible, what should be the proactive action of that company? MNC would dismiss the person, would fire the person on moral grounds, or even till inquiry is pending. What has the VHP done? Nothing except saying we are very hurt.
We were the first persons when I, in my capacity as president of the VHP, issued a 4-point poster. 1. An FIR should be immediately registered. 2. The matter be investigated by senior and experienced police officers and expeditiously. 3. The matter should then be handled by a fast-track court on a day-to-day basis. 4. Guilty should be punished, and this whole process should complete within 4 to 5 months, and Hindu Samaj would feel some satisfaction when they see the convicted persons going to jail. You want me to dismiss him today without even the result of the investigation? And nobody has yet accused Champatji of sharing or instigating or planning for such loot. The allegations as of now are of
His driver,
yes.
who had the keys to the strong room. How does that fit in?
This is interesting. I have heard people saying his wife, his son, his daughter, his family member. In this case, there is no such body. Champatji is a bachelor. Then you say, not he but his driver. So the driver has gone to jail. He is being examined. Money has been recovered from him. The law will catch up on him. Even you are not making an allegation that Champatji received any part of it. Champatji conspired to have it happen. Therefore, he may be guilty of negligence.
That is the point. The trust, which is overseeing the temple and the management and so much cash, the head cannot be, say, guilty of negligence by underplaying and saying it's negligence, and catching the small guys like a driver and some of the others is really letting the big fish get away.
I'm sure it would not happen. In the FIR, those persons are named because they are named in the SIT report. And then there is a 9th entry after these 8 names, which says, and other persons. In the content part of the FIR, the trust has requested for a comprehensive investigation, not limited to these 8 people. It includes all persons, including the person frequently mentioned by you, open to investigation. And the investigation must include all the allegations that have been made against them. So, whatever be the size of the fish, irrespective of small or big, none would be spared, none should be spared.
These are standard lines. When something wrong happens and something as big as this, to say police is investigating, SIT is doing it, this is actually brushing everything under the carpet. What about the role of the organization? What about the VHP coming strongly against one of its own and setting its house in order? Sitting back for an inquiry result or the police or the SIT, whose role we will come to later. But there has to be, and if I may quote Shakespeare, Caesar's wife must appear to be above suspicion. Now here that doesn't seem to be the case, and some action should have been taken. We should have cracked the whip, which the VHP somehow has failed to do.
You are making your conclusions rather early. The inquiry is in the present stage. I am not repeating the usual script because the usual script had been of defending, of defying, of insisting that although I am accused, although the bail has been refused, although I am in jail, but then I shall continue as Chief Minister from this jail. In our case, from the day one, there has been no attempt to defend. We are rather interested in exposes.
There may not have been a obvious or visible attempt to defend, but sitting back and waiting for evidence, waiting for investigation is actually also somewhere turning a blind eye. Similar to the way that blind eye was turned when the loot in the temple was going on and saying, okay, we were negligent. But that's not enough.
The we is not VHP. You were saying we were negligent, that is not VHP.
Why has the VHP not openly disassociated itself with Mr. Champat Rai, irrespective of whether he was there counting the cash and swindling it, or he was negligent, or he didn't know? Not knowing and heading something is a greater crime than the crime actually happening. So somewhere his role is under the scanner and he cannot escape it.
There are 2 ways of putting it.
Okay.
1, it is under the scanner. 2, it has been proved. The matter is under the scanner.
So what has the VHP done about that?
Let the scan come out.
But why are you waiting? As I said, that Caesar's wife should appear to be above suspicion. There is something called a moral responsibility. The VHP, and I am not saying what Mr. Champat Rai does or does not do, but the VHP needs to appear to be taking some action, or at least disassociating itself, or saying we have nothing to do with Mr. Champat Rai anymore. He is not part of the VHP, which the VHP has failed to do.
We are going into the same thing in a rigmarole.
Because I am not getting the right answer.
And I can assure you
That I will not get it?
That my right answer is we will discuss this. We will consider this at an appropriate time.
What is appropriate
I'm
time?
answering it in this sentence. After this investigation proceeds to a certain point.
Then whether you do anything or not is irrelevant, because then the law will take its course. My question remains, what has the VHP as an organization done?
Let us not keep it focused to a person.
It has to
What
be.
what has the VHP done on the entire issue? So the VHP has proactively, publicly demanded an FIR, an investigation. Maybe but then my view and answer is we shall wait for some time. We shall wait for investigations to reach some conclusions and then consider this matter.
But why? My question is, in any crime, the police would investigate, whether you demand it or you don't. So what you're saying is nothing new. Evidence, if it comes, law takes its own course. So what is the VHP's role has been? Nothing.
You were asking me about our role.
Exactly. I'm still asking that.
So my answer remains, it is not the stage for it. Let his role be found out by an appropriate inquiry, and then we shall consider it. Now I would request you to move
stop
on to your
this.
next point.
I'll still ask. Isn't negligence and failure enough?
We have considered this issue amongst ourselves, and it is our decision that we would watch the further progress of the matter.
And let him continue and not disown him. And not even condemn the negligence publicly.
We are condemning the whole incident.
You will still not mention Mr. Champat Rai.
You are trying to force me to do that.
You have said at one point that he should be investigated.
Yes, I have said that, and I'm ready to repeat this.
What is your gut feeling?
My gut feeling is that ultimately the people in the management may be found to be negligent.
Isn't that unforgivable?
If it is found, then it is punishable. Unforgivable, punishable, everything.
Don't you think the VHP, the government, both the state and the centre, owe an explanation to the nation, in fact an apology, irrespective of the findings of the SIT or the police or the investigation? And that doesn't seem to be forthcoming.
I don't think the union government at this stage is answerable. It was no part of their duty to have a foresight. It may be a systemic failure. But then trying to blame it on the VHP or the RSS or the Prime Minister's office, in my understanding, it is rather a political view of the matter.
It is not about blaming, and I'm not even for a minute trying to do that. I'm not saying that the VHP is to be blamed, the Prime Minister's office is to be blamed, but the head of whether it's a trust, organization or state or country owes it to its people to say this has gone wrong under my charge. I may not be responsible for it, but I owe, and especially when faith is involved.
Kumkumji, it was not their charge. It was the exclusive duty of the trustees. And we are defending no one.
But you're accusing nobody also. Forget accusing, but even on moral ground, you don't seem to be naming and shaming.
Shaming at this stage, yes. Naming at this stage, we do not agree.
Just explain the two.
We are ashamed that this happened. Not our responsibility, but then it has happened at some place, we are sorry for it. It's a matter of a lot of regret and hurt. But if you say that during the very early hours of the investigation, we should pronounce a judgment, declare it, name the person and crucify him. Not so early, not at this stage.
But the point I'm making is, don't hang him, but disassociate and say this was wrong. We are ashamed that this person belonged to the VHP and therefore, on moral ground, he is no longer associated with us.
Don't you think it is a very grave thing to happen?
Meaning?
Naming a person, holding him guilty of so many things, dissociating are matters that are serious.
Not as serious as the loot in the temple.
That's
So
right.
if you compare the two.
No, there is no comparison. We can't compare the uncomparables. All that I'm saying is that the matter is at the initial stage of the inquiry. Let it proceed. Let the investigating agencies have the explanations of Shri Champat Rai on it. And when we have the version of both of them and all facts come out, it would only then be right to take a view.
Yes, but then the view would be irrelevant. Whether you take a stand then, don't take it, because the law in any case is going to take its course.
As far as the law taking its own course is concerned, the question whether he is an office bearer or not is even today irrelevant. I have answered these questions in as many ways as possible. You have asked it in as many ways as possible. Let us proceed to your next point.
All right. The VHP silence is being interpreted in some quarters thanks to it being under scanner in 1990, when huge sums were spent on transporting bricks to Ayodhya. So, in one sense, it is history repeating itself.
Maybe some allegation was made, I do not yet remember. But then it was something that was 36 years ago. We did not have a supporting government at the center. We had
To cover the facts.
We had an anemical government. And if there was any credence in any of the allegations, it would have been investigated. There were some allegations. What happened to those allegations? Nothing. Because there was nothing in them. Otherwise, the government would not have spared us an amount which was spent on the total agitation, representing it as an expenditure of only the transportation, and throwing at me in the form of an allegation today is unfair.
Now, I am not throwing it as an allegation to you, but I am just saying, in the absence of any action, I know you said let's move on, and I will. That seems to be disappointing. So, therefore, one is trying to understand why VHP not taking a proactive role. That's the point, limited point.
As far as the investigation is concerned, we have taken a proactive role.
But that's not your job.
And supporting it, demanding it, insisting upon it.
Even if you don't, the investigation will go on.
Is a citizen's job.
But you're not a citizen, you're a VHP.
And as far as
who's collected money in the name of the temple.
And as far as hanging of Champat Rai ji, I have made my stand clear. We would not do it until we see only one side, and Champat ji's explanation to it is yet to come and be tested.
Has the VHP internally asked for his explanation, seen or tried to get to his side of the story?
We are waiting for the investigation for the truth to come out.
That's passing the buck now.
That's not passing the buck. Okay. That's relying upon the normal legal recourse and the people who are trained and responsible to find out, to wait for that result. We are not passing the buck.
You know, in fact, Praveen Togadia has done better and called for death penalty for the culprits.
All people who are on the other side of the spectrum do better. That's politics. That's not justice. That's not fair chance. That's not that everybody has a right to defend himself.
Okay. Again, I will try and push this a little more. Even if you will not let me, but I'll take the liberty. You know, the suggestion, and I'm not saying this is the VHP, but I'm saying the suggestion that Champat Rai was unaware is somewhere unconvincing. And if it were so, he was the wrong person to head the trust. But till June 10th, he was dismissing all allegations. He was not even prepared to look into the red flags. How would you explain that?
Why do I explain that?
Defend it?
Why do I defend it?
What would you say?
I would say that investigation agencies must take attention to all these things and reach its conclusion.
Why did the head of the trust or the trust, in fact, I would say other members of the trust also should be responsible and accountable. When audit flagged the lapses, something should have been done so that this mess, quote unquote, would not have been the end result. The audit flagged mismanagement. The audit said there was no systematic record of donations, and they said there was mismanagement of funds. For 6 years, nobody did anything. What would you put that to? Was it just simply to say it was systematic failure, or would you say it was willful negligence and turning a blind eye to, again the word I will use is a strong word, loot?
I did not contradict you once.
I know, but you have not even agreed with me.
I gave you the freedom of choice of your words. I am not personally aware if any such audit report existed. If it exists, then much of what you say is relevant. Things are in such a fluid state, and all sides of allegations are being trumpeted peacefully, with calmness. They have to be sifted.
You know, when you use the word peaceful, calmness, they're very good words. But at the moment, Hindus and the believers, Ram believers, are agitated. So to expect peace, calmness, waiting for the inquiry is somewhere not fitting in. And that is where an apology from the BJP, an apology from the VHP is in order. The temple was one of the electoral planks of the BJP. It's another matter that in 2024 it didn't work. So at this point, for them, irrespective of what happens in the inquiry, for them to come out openly and say something to the people and balm the wounds was in order.
We have publicly accepted that this is a matter of embarrassment.
But not apologized.
This is matter of hurt. We are no part of it. And therefore, we have not considered the matter in the form of an apology. You name the other BJP leaders. Maybe you will call the other leaders in your show to answer that question. I can answer for the VHP.
Which is?
We are sorry. We think it is very bad. But then, in any crime that has taken place, we have no role in that crime, and nobody has assigned us that role. All your persuasions for me are on moral grounds.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And we will come out on it appropriately after the investigation proceeds.
Okay, that is where my difference with you is.
Yes.
That, yeah.
All right, we leave it at
We
that.
leave it at that. All right. And now I'm going to request you, please don't play safe and tell me clearly, isn't there more than meets the eye? What is your gut feeling? Is it as simple as theft?
Very honestly, I do not know. As far as I know, the chadhawa chori or loot, whatever, it has happened. The treasurer of the trust has in an official statement said that the ornaments, gold, jewelry, whatever was donated is there and documented. This is to be tested. It's a confusion. We do not know what is right or what is wrong. Therefore, we would like the air to be clear, the facts to be found, and then a view to be taken.
Don't you think the trustees failed in their duty by not exercising due diligence? And somehow, while we are training our guns at one or two people, don't you think it's a bigger issue?
Prima facie, it appears to me that the persons who were on the spot should have exercised much care in the matter. And you are right. To that extent is negligence in action.
By that measure, don't you think the trust should be disbanded? And this is something which Dharam Das, one of the seers, has said, Mahan Dharam Das, that it should be disbanded. And according to him, his second demand has been that the Prime Minister should come out, say something to the nation. So one, trust being disbanded and the silence of the Prime Minister or the government or anyone in the government.
What is more important is doing than speaking. So if sufficient is being done on the ground to clear the mess, that would make me happy. The persons who were on the spot, the two trustees, and against whom all the allegations have been made, have already resigned. There are no allegations against any other trustee. I don't consider the necessity of removing any trustee.
Disbanding the trust?
I don't think it is necessary at this stage.
What about collective responsibility?
That's right, but I do not think at this stage that the trust should be disbanded.
You know, forming an SIT by the state government is kind of an eyewash. It can be influenced by the powers that be. In fact, in this case, it's a double edged sword. The chief minister has his angst, and if he wants to settle a score simply because no one from the Gorakhpur Mutt was part of the trust, the findings could go one way. On the other hand, if he wants to save the image of the state government, the probe could point to another direction. Either ways, it is justice compromised.
It is a bad habit to assume a negative attitude even before something happens. We should have the confidence on our legal systems. And everything, every minute of it is under the media watch. And therefore, if the SIT makes mistakes or whitewashes or whatever, you will point it out to the country, we would point out to the country. But we can't begin with an assumption that whatever would happen wrong. It is my understanding of the situation that the government of the Uttar Pradesh is as concerned and serious about an honest probe. Regarding the personal grouses, I don't think they exist, but then this is the election year. A row over Rama temple can affect and influence. तो हिंदी में एक कहावत है, कोई दुश्मन की एक आंख फोड़ने के लिए अपनी दोनों नहीं फोड़ लेता है. एंड आई थिंक योगी जी हैज एनफ एक्सपीरियंस to not lead him to a suicidal action, an action which leads to suicide of their political career.
Having said that, don't you think that a CBI probe would have been better or a court monitored probe?
Well, in almost all cases where the center has insisted on a probe, the opposition has called it, the CBI, a caged parrot. So whatever allegations that you make against the UP police about their potentiality of being compromised also apply upon the CBI. I have heard that some persons have filed a petition in the Supreme Court for a court-monitored inquiry. Personally, I think that if the Supreme Court in its wisdom appoints a sitting or a retired judge to monitor the probe, nobody should have an objection.
Would you welcome it and prefer it to the investigation which is going on now?
I have my confidence on the investigating agencies. We would not mind a Supreme Court sitting or retired judge monitoring the probe.
What about the Bar Association's stand that no lawyer will represent the accused?
This is a catch. Because if I say that they should not do it, then it would be interpreted as if I am being lenient to the accused persons. I have no love for them. I would like to see them in jail. I was reading into a 2011 case of the Supreme Court. Coimbatore Bar Association had passed a resolution that it shall not represent a particular individual. The Supreme Court said that a bar association has no right to do that. And the Supreme Court referred to Article 22(1) of the Constitution of India, which gives to every citizen a right to be defended by an advocate. The Supreme Court said that not representing a client, not giving him his best defense is unconstitutional, unlawful, and unethical. Maybe that the Ayodhya Bar Association like to consider this case. I have no advice to offer to them.
What would you say as a lawyer?
As a lawyer, I would say that the Supreme Court judgment is binding on all of us. And then further, the bar says, if somebody appears, he will be fined with 5 lakhs of rupees. And then they pass a judgment and pass an execution order that if these persons do not leave Ayodhya within this much time, we shall block all the roads leading to Ayodhya. The resolutions and actions and the tenor in which they were said appears more to be a political propaganda than by a serious association of lawyers.
There has been erosion of faith as of now with this, and with temple donations now becoming a suspect. Isn't this a setback to VHP's temple crusade in India?
One example does not make a theory. We all know of the Shabarimala case. The temple is governed by the Devaswam government, and it had gold plated gates of the temple, gold plated seats for Jaya and Vijay, and other things where the gold was there. Against all rules, violating all the rules, the gold was allowed to be stolen from that place. We all know about the Padmanabh temple and other temples. So saying that the private management will always be bad and the government management would always be good is not correct. Our campaign for liberation of temples continues.
Even while you say that the temple crusade will not have a setback, what does this mean for the Hindutva movement?
This would depend on what happens in the next 6 months. If the government is able to get a correct, true report, including of the guilty persons, they are quickly tried, convicted, and the people see these people go to jail. If within this time modern appropriate systems are applied to ensure that not a single rupee of Bhagwan Ram can be diverted, then I think it would be forgotten as a one-time aberration, and we shall have all the confidence back.
You don't foresee a political fallout of this episode?
I don't know today. It will depend upon the next 6 months.
What kind of a political fallout, if any, is expected?
Let me assume a situation that BJP is not able to fully redeem itself from it. What are the choices with the devotees of the Ram? I heard a statement of Mr. Akhilesh Yadav that if his party comes back to power, they would make Ayodhya a Siya Ram Dham. Good words. But he was chief minister for a full term of 5 years. He did not visit Ayodhya even once, gave it no funds. And when his father was the chief minister, there was firing. And people remember what the Congress did. They even gave an affidavit in the Supreme Court that Ram never existed. So I do not think that the Ram devotees would find Aam Aadmi Party or the Congress Party or the Samajwadi Party as their choice.
At this stage, the BJP also may not be their choice for a simple reason
I agree.
that there is loot in the temples.
I agree. I mean, loot, all right, that's your word. But I agree. Therefore, I said they have 6 months. Come out straight and punish. Then it may be redeemed.
What is the VHP's worry, both immediate and long term?
We don't have long term worry. We have concerns that our temples are run good, that the puja is done in a right way, that the money is offered in the temples is used for only Hindu causes. So we have these type of concerns.
Let me ask you a political question. Chanda chori, vote chori, paper chori. What does all this do to the government image, both in the state and the center? And how would this episode, and I will this time not use the word loot, but I will say theft, impact the forthcoming elections in Uttar Pradesh next year?
My answer is that if there is adequate remedial action, then the Hindu society will repose its confidence on the Hindutva forces. Because the competition is not with another Hindu organization. The competition is with Samajwadi Party and Congress. So therefore, if there is enough action to remedy, BJP may be the preferred party. I have seen the statements of the Congress people and the Aam Aadmi Party people seeking the resignation on moral grounds.
Which is what I was saying also.
Rahul and Mrs. Sonia Gandhi are both accused of dishonestly and unlawfully transferring the National Herald property from the party to themselves. They are on bail. They did not resign. 64 crore Bofors scandal. Shri Rajiv Gandhi did not resign. Purchasing of the MPs to acquire a majority in Lok Sabha by giving them cash at the Prime Minister's house. So when you compare, when you ask why not resignation, people consider your suggestion. But when they ask, people remember all these things. This is a political race for the 2027 elections. Ramji said, "Woh kapat chhal chhidra na bhava." Ramji recognizes where is the kapat and where is the sincerity.
You know, while you give these examples, and I take your point, two wrongs don't make a right.
Correct. I was not using these examples to defend anybody. I was only saying that when a saint makes such a request, when a journalist makes a request, it is one thing. And when these people make a request, it is another thing.
On that point, I'll let it go. And Mr. Alok Kumar, thank you very much. Thank you for your time. And thank you for being here with us.
Namaskar.